From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on Lalate.
It's a big midday here on Lalate with incredible great news as your fourth stimulus recon has passed the U.S. Senate. Step one is done, and away we go. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we'll go over the breaking news, as those Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. The $3.5 trillion fourth stimulus recon has passed the U.S. Senate, so what's happening next? Of all the latest details in this recording. Then we cut to the third part of the video, the voting process. What happens next with the House, and what did Schumer say minutes ago? I have all the breaking news you're going to hear for the first time that happened just within the last 10 minutes at noontime. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which September is knocking on our door, and that is the raise of your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits. I have all the incredible great news about this as well. And then we cut to the big money as one viewer got over $50,000 and viewers are getting $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 daily for rent, utilities, food, and internet from third stimulus. So I'm going to show you how you get this big money as well. It's a big day and it's a great day. I'm excited for you to be here as the fourth stimulus recon has passed. We go over all the details starting right now. Hey, good noontime, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the board. And I'm so excited for you to join me on a day in which the fourth stimulus recon has passed the U.S. Senate. Next off the House, I'll have all the details. But first, how are you doing? Hope the weather is great where you are. It's been beautiful here in Southern California. It's a little bit muggy at the moment, but it's cool along the coast in the 70s. Freezing at night in the low 50s. Perfect weather. I'm loving it. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from at noontime and how's the weather. In this recording, we're going to go over those monthly stimulus checks and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we got to the fourth stimulus recon. Done deal. I had told you over the last 2 weeks, I was right, because all they had to do was just call for a vote. It was done. It was done within 11 hours, not 50 hours, overnight. I have the latest details about what happened about this fourth stimulus recon that pays you a lot of money, $3.5 trillion of checks coming to the American people. Then we cut to the exciting details about what happens next. And we'll go over the voting process, the dates, and what Nancy is doing, what Chuck is doing, and what Chuck said minutes ago. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which September is just knocking on our doors. We'll begin to go over the raise of your benefits up a lifetime in SSI and SSDI. And then finally we get to this, as one viewer got over $50,000 from this channel. And he's not an anomaly because we've had viewers getting $20,000, $30,000 daily. And I'm going to show you how you can get this big money as well. And this is Lalate, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning like right now, direct from Santa Monica, and then taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Afternoons LA Throwback. Say on this video, it'll automatically take you there. It's at 1 o'clock. Then the new Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock. Then the Evenings LA new at 5 o'clock. Then Sirloin. And so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible loving family, the Purple Hawk family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member so you get access to all this incredible money as a Purple Hawk. Let's cut to the details starting right now. House versus Senate, Senate versus House. Monthly stimulus check, both, but different number of payouts. And there's new news about what's going on with the pandemic minutes ago. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. Senate, a proposal July to December. Let's go over House bill. $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, and Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. When we go back to the House bill, well, guess what's happening? A lot of details. We're learning about mass mandates, vaccine mandates. You're going to see a lot of vaccine mandates required in cities and counties and states and businesses in the next few weeks because Delta is a big issue. Delta Plus, and Lambda lying on the horizon. And with that, the House bill would likely pay you the full extent of the language. Pandemic plus 1 year, which would be more than just 1 year of checks, which would be more than 12 checks. And for that House bill, that would be more than $13,000. So compare that to this. And the Senate? I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump on the live chat at noontime and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Who gets that forced stimulus check? The Democrats represent, you do. Single individual, 75,000 or less. Democrats represent, you get a forced stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less. The Democrats represent, you get a forced stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent, you get a forced stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, VA as well. Democrats represent, you get a forced stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. And the forced stimulus check will be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. And finally, the forced stimulus check is not a waivable check. So if you're at an LA Dodgers baseball game and you're in the stadium and you see the wave coming, you're about to go, hey, wave. And then you look over and you see the check in the next seat. Not standing up for the Dodgers wave. What's wrong with you, Check? Hi, Check. How are you? Check didn't wave back. Oh, I got it. You're a rude Check. No, he's not a rude Check, LA. He's a Giants fan. And can we top that? Yes. In the second half of this video, we'll go to the recon. Over the last few weeks, I would usually say done deal because it was effectively a done deal. Well, I was right. It took less than 11 hours to pass the forced stimulus recon procedural overnight in the Senate. Not 50 hours, 11 hours, because it was a done deal, as I've been reporting. Done deal, passed. I'll have all the details about what happened. Then in the third part of this video, we'll be going over the next step and what happens with that. We have two updates and one that came from Schumer minutes ago. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime based upon an interest inflation being transitory. And boy, if you're tuning into broadcast media, they were using my word, Jay Powell's word as well, transitory, every 10 seconds today. I'll have more about that later in this video. But first, let's get some money. Get a pen and paper ready because I want to get you some rent, some utilities, some homeowners mortgage assistance and homeowners utility assistance because this is where it's game changing. When I said a few weeks ago I can get you 4 to 6 months of rent, $5,000, I undervalued it because I could not get you $5,000. In fact, I can get you a lot more. $27,000 has been gotten by the Purple Hawks of this channel, members who subscribe and are members and are listening religiously to the videos and learning how to get this money. And there you go. Elizabeth, $27,000 she got for rent. Mark, $25,000 for rent. Nancy, $24,000 for rent. Richard, $22,000. Nisi, $20,000. The numbers are still coming in. And if you have a success story, send me DMs on Instagram or Twitter as well. Pamela got $12,000 for rent. Carla got utilities and other items. Tiffany got several items, including $13,000 for rent. Randy got several items, including $6,000 for rent. And Jennifer got several items, including $5,000 for rent. And Cecilia got some heat. Incredible, great news. Then for utilities, which is water, gas, electric, I said I can get you $300 for that. Well, guess what? I got viewers a lot more. Bam. $7,000. Congratulations, Nancy. Great job. Mark, $6,500 for utilities. Angela, $5,000 for utilities. And then when we turn to SNAP, which is money for your food, I said maybe $4,000 to $6,000 because we had some viewers initially get that, and then this came in. Oh my goodness, Louie, $18,000 he got for SNAP. Great job, Louie. $10,000 to $12,000 for John and Nancy, $5,000. And then for viewers who listened to me to say get 3 items, rent, utilities, and also SNAP. Are you ready for this? Can we hear the drum roll? Bam. Wow. Nancy, $32,000 she got as a Purple Hawk of this channel for rent, utilities, and SNAP. Nisi, as a Purple Hawk, got 3 items, $23,000, rent, utilities, and SNAP. And Mark, as a Purple Hawk, it's 2 items, got $32,000, rent and utilities. Now, you notice Mark only got 2 items, and that became the subject of videos on this channel for over a week. I referred to Mark on air, and I said, Mark, why did you get 2 items? You should have gotten SNAP as well, at least try for it. No reason not to try for it, because eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. So then he tried for it. And I thought maybe he can get $4,000 or $5,000 for SNAP, maybe $8,000, which would bring him to a total of $40,000. How much do you think Mark got? He got a little bit more than that. A lot more than that. How much? $19,000 Mark got for SNAP, bringing his grand total to $50,000 that he got as a Purple Power, as a Purple Hawk, as a viewer and a member and subscriber of this channel. He really persevered. He went back and he didn't stop till he got more. And this is Lalate. This is what we've been doing since day one. On April of last year, I launched this channel to get people money under the EIDL grant and loan because their applications were stalled. And I stepped forward and I got their applications approved, doing them on camera and off camera in the middle of the night, helping them in private messaging. Sometimes getting upwards of 10 loans approved per day at $150,000 a pop, bringing the grand total to $25 million over the next few weeks. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming. So I stepped forward, I got people rent, got Tyrone and his family of 4 out of Boston, $15,000 for rent, paying all their rent to next spring, getting viewers $250,000 across the board. Now we're doing it bigger than and better and bigger than I've ever seen before. In fact, we may be doing over $1 million a week. The numbers are absolutely astronomical. So get that pen and paper ready because today's your day. If you got some money before, I want you to get all the other sums of money. If you just found this channel, thank you for finding this channel. Now I want you to get that pen and paper ready. I want you to get the sums of money. And if you try to and have problems, watch this video again right now, and hopefully this will be the breakthrough day for you. We're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. They all have their own pots of money. If one says no, go to the next. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Then also understand they have their own pots of money. And finally, listen to the keywords I say in the video. The viewers say that really helps them find where to look. All right, you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, your state housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say is rent assistance, because of COVID, rent assistance or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Ron Portman's wonderful rap career. What was the name of the song? Bipartisan and You? I don't know. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money for rent as well and utilities. If you got rent and utilities, post in the live chat right now. And let's cut now to some SNAP. What is SNAP? SNAP is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. Why would you not get it? Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and mom. Gail got it as well. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Louis got $18,000, and Mark got $19,000. Wow. So let's go over all the details. How much does it pay? A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Whoa, why so much money? Because of 2 executive orders that are wonderful. Both that raise your benefits up 15% from Biden and Trump. So go get it. And if you got in SNAP, post in the live chat right now. And we're killing it. We're just getting started. We're only at 12 minutes of this video. I'm excited for you. We've gotten $27,000 for rent. We've gotten $9,000 for utilities, and we've gotten $19,000 for SNAP. Now, understand, I've been doing this for a while, and there's not a single state in the country where there's no money. There's money everywhere. So keep on pushing. All right, and with that, let's cut to the next pile of money. It's the money coming back from your state due to overpayment and computer error and unemployment benefits. These are states that are overpaid unemployment benefits due to computer error and then asked you to return it. You did, and the federal government said, no, it was your money to keep. So how does it land? Direct deposit. How do you track it? Reach out to your state. Say, hi, state, where's that money due to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that's actually turned on? It helps when a computer's actually turned on to track it. And can we top that? Yes, we can top that. As we go into the final set of money, which is the refund check coming back from IRS. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. This is the refund check on that 2020 unemployment benefits. And guess what? It's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch, I know you hate those words. It's a waivable check. The average waive of checks are about $1,200, $1,400. And they're landing by direct deposit. There's a new wave every week, mail check and also direct deposit check. But first, let me go over something on a personal note. If you're on the live chat and you've not posted your success stories about rent, utility, or SNAP, whether you got $10 or $100, do it right now. Because the spirit of this channel is me helping you and you as the Purple Power helping others. 3 wonderful things happen when you post your success stories helping other people. Number 1, you inspire people to get the money because everyone has rent, everyone has food, everyone has utility bills. And suddenly you realize, wait a second, other people getting their bills paid, I should get my water bill paid. And then some people never heard of SNAP until they found this channel. I've had a lot of people that never heard of SNAP until they tuned in to me. And then they said, oh my goodness, I should have been getting this money all along. And then number 2, it inspires people to get multiple sums of money. So Art Sullivan and Nisi started it with getting 3 items, rent, utilities, and SNAP. That inspired Nancy. And then you heard Mark. He got 2 items, and I said, Mark, go get the third. And he did, bringing his grand total to 50,000. Finally, it updates us about the numbers. All right, let's cut back to those unemployment benefits. Where are they landing? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. How much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. You're getting back $4,000. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. 70% of the time it will reveal the taxes you paid and the taxes you filed and the tax return you filed. And it also reveals stuff you'd never wanted to really know about, like is Mitch classically trained as a hula dancer? Can we top that? Yes, as we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus recon, starting right now. Passed. Boy, over the last few weeks, I would say done, deal, or deal done. And viewers are like, but it hasn't been voted on because it was basically a non-starter. I mean, it was a done deal. What had happened was the Democrat caucus senators had met twice in the last 2 weeks and said, are you going to agree upon the recon of $3.5 trillion package? Yes, I will. And that was done. And needless to say, you're going to hear a laugh about this later in the video because there was a Republican publication that this morning, conservative publication this morning, that said Chris and Sinema and Joe Manchin are going to blow it up by the end of last night. They weren't. I mean, just come on already. It was not going to happen. And so the recon passed in 11 hours, not 50 hours. More about what happened on that later in this video. What's important to know for you is that we've had now 3 stimulus packages, the first, the second, and the third, and now this is the fourth. This is the biggest we've ever had. So there's a lot of room to put stimulus checks in there. Moreover, what's important to understand is that the prior stimulus packages, some of them were 80% for corporate America, for corporations and businesses, and 10% for the American people. This is the reverse. In fact, it's nearly 99% for the American people and nothing for corporations. So there's a lot of room of money to put stimulus checks in there. So how did we reach this point? By taking the roads and bridges out of the recon and put it into something called the bipartisan. A conservative publication confirms in my reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon, the harder it was to pass. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, the roads and bridges, and put it in the bipartisan, it made the overall price tag of the recon smaller. In other words, the bipartisan made the recon passable. But now they're both passed. The recon passed this morning in the thick of dawn, and then the bipartisan passed this weekend in the Senate. More about what comes up next. How did they do this? Well, the progressives, once they shrunk the recon, were able to blow it back up to a number they wanted, a big enough number, $3.5 trillion, now passed. And Representative Rishi Torres said we have to have a larger recon. You got it, passed, $3.5 trillion. And Representative Ilhan Omar said we have to have a recon that goes as large as we want it. You got it, passed, $3.5 trillion. The progressives were meeting with the White House daily, both House and Senate progressives, to ensure they got a big enough recon. They got it, $3.5 trillion passed. In fact, the president had told the progressives to protect the recon, and boy, did they protect it, because it passed very quickly overnight. Brian Schatz, Democrat, Hawaii progressive, and Jalapal, Democrat, Washington progressive, both said that the White House had told them that the progressive priorities in the recon are the White House's priorities. Okay, so now let's go over first the difference. Let's go over the difference between recon and bipartisan. Then we're going to go over the difference of recon procedural versus recon substantive. And then we'll go over how a recon gets to the finish line. All right, with the tow truck and the tow hitch. All right, first we're going to go over the terminology. And boy, broadcast media is still doing a bad job today. They're doing a bad job yesterday. They're doing a bad job today because they just throw these words out like everyone knows what they're talking about. And many of the times they're using the wrong words. They're switching the words. So I only use 2 words on this channel, which is easy for us. Recon at your money and bipartisan roads and bridges. That's easy. But here are the other words you need to know because other people sometimes use other words. Recon is also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. The price tag of $3.5 trillion. The people that quoted in it are Bernie Sanders or a AOC. You'll also see expressions like social spending or social services spending. You'll hear words like that because that's what it is. Bipartisan, also called infrastructure, also called roads and bridges. Price tag $1.5 trillion. People quote an article about this: Ron Portman, Kristen Sinema, or Mitt Romney. Okay, that's easy. So now let's go over the passage of the recon in the Senate. Let's go over what recon passed, and what's the next recon? So the recon that passed in the Senate overnight was the procedural recon. Procedural recon is different than substantive recon. What is procedural recon? It is basically 3 questions. Do you agree to pass a recon of a price tag of $3.5 trillion at a later date? Yes, I do. And do you agree that in that later recon that you're going to separate the $3.5 trillion as the following: $10 to the U.S. Committee on Agriculture, $10 to the U.S. Committee on Housing? Yes, I do. And that's it. That's basically all they do. Really just 2 steps, and then it's non-binding, meaning it does not say how they are to spend the money. It just says, here's $10 for that committee. We'll decide how to spend it when we go do the next step. That's the procedural recon, and that passed overnight. So what is substantive recon? Substantive recon is then once that procedural recon becomes law, then the subcommittee, let's say housing, that has $10, decides how to spend the $10. Okay, we're going to spend the $10 on these type of people for this duration and this manner. And that is what becomes drafted into legislation called the procedural substantive, and that goes up to a final vote. So now let's go over who writes that. That's written by the House subcommittees that are Democrats. And those House subcommittee members are delegated different subject matters under the Constitution. For example, House Ways and Means Subcommittee goes over stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. And when each of the subcommittees are done, they combine their pages, send them up to Chuck Schumer. Let's say you have 10 subcommittees with 10 pages, and they combine them, and that is the final substantive reconciliation bill. Then that's called for vote, and then that is what sends out money to the American people. Well, how did we get to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot from Jalapal, who recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote on the recon. And we did. And the vote was called on the recon. I'll explain more about how that vote happened overnight in just a few minutes. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who are among the 100 plus, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, when we write the recon, substantive, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in there. Well, Purple Power, the writing is underway, and so you have to push and ensure these people keep their promise. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. The same committee I just went over. Well, when they start to write that, when they continue writing as they are now, you have to push Purple Power and ensure these subcommittees get that language in there and keep their promises. And can we top that? Yes. As the president did, Biden did it, about 7 weeks ago, he went overseas for a ceremonial signature. The ceremonial signature resulted in the actual signature a few days ago for the global minimum corporate tax rate minimum, a confusing thing that doesn't belong in the recon, and thank goodness it's not. Now it makes it easier to write the recon, easier to vote on the recon, and easier to pass the substantive recon. And can we top that? Yes. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, a lot of breaking news. I'm going to go over the vote that happened this morning, what goes on next in Nancy's house. Then I'll be going over what Chuck said about recon substantive minutes ago before I went on air. You did not hear this on Mornings LA. It just happened minutes ago. Then I'll go over everything you need to know about the difference from recon procedural to recon substantive. And then we'll also touch over this stimulus as well. But something also wonderful, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, food, or internet, always look for it yourself. Always make the look yourself, because when you persevere yourself, you succeed. Just like Mark. I said to Mark, go back and get the SNAP. He went back and got the SNAP. So reach out to do it yourself. But if you can't, the volunteers can help you. Where are the volunteers? Open the description of this video. In the description of this video, it has an emoji of a house. It says the community page. Click the link. It sends you to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. Here's a little bit about them, and I'll be back in 60 seconds with the big breaking news you're hearing for the first time on Noontime LA. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime Lalate as we go into the breaking news that came from Chuck Schumer minutes ago and what's going on next as we head to the House with your fourth stimulus recon passed in the Senate. Wow, exciting, great news. It took less than 11 hours to do something that would have taken 50 hours. Why? I'm going to show you in a second. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Coming up next is Afternoons Lalate at 1 o'clock. This video will automatically take you to that throwback show. Then we go into the new Afternoons Lalate at 3 p.m., then the new Evenings Lalate at 5 p.m. In fact, all three shows will take you to the next one. You don't have to lift a hand, sort of like your senators. And consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. Consider becoming a Purple Hawk and always hit that like button. Let's turn to something that is really getting exciting. Its fifth stimulus is just a few days away. And this is September. The president had promised during the campaign trail to deliver a raise of your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, and VA. He didn't do it. So now the Democrats are delivering it for you. They represent its in fifth stimulus, and that is starting in September. They start drafting this in September, and then they start applying it for a potential vote for November. That would then hit your account, presumably, according to them, by November, with the raise of your benefits up for December, applied in January. Let's go over all the details. First, they're going to raise your benefits up one big time under this SSDI reform. They're going to raise it up one big time. Then they're going to remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, then remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. So who does this apply to? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA or more. Step one, they raise your benefits up a lifetime, one big amount. Next, step two, they apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. When do they apply the benchmark? In December for next year's benefits. Where is inflation going to go? If there was a word that you saw all over broadcast media today, it was transitory. My word. Jay Powell's word. It means temporary. Jay Powell says that inflation will hit a spike in December and then come back down. Wow, yes, right when they apply your benefits. Then they'll apply that inflationary benchmark. How high is it going to go? I detailed this extensively on the last weekend. I said it's going to look like about 5%. Let's use a number, 5%, before it comes back down. First, they'll raise your benefits up lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if it is 5%, your benefits will go up another 5%, not just next year, a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, then it's plus 5, plus 2%. Then they're going to move the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away, and you'll be able to have some Crayola crowns in your hand. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end, and you'll be able to do the pair dance at your own wedding. Rob and Sandy will be able to get married, and if you were married, you will no longer have your benefits lost. They'll be restored. Finally, fifth stimulus will have another stimulus check in there the House Ways and Means Subcommittee members represent. And lastly, if you're in the live chat and you notice people with an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name and you don't have one, you need to get one. Consider membership and joining right now to become a member of this channel. Here's what happens. When you become a member, I deliver daily to you via the YouTube community page a breakdown of all the big money that's available under second stimulus, third stimulus, and proposed under fourth and fifth stimulus. It's generally all application-based, and that is how these people are getting these massive sums of money, because they understand the focus should be on these sums of money, which apply for nearly every person. Here's what's at issue. when second stimulus was starting up in about the spring of last year. This channel didn't exist. And then when I launched this channel, I noticed a lot of people were saying, what day in April is the second stimulus check coming? I need it that day. Otherwise, something's going to happen. It didn't come. And then they said, I need it in May. Otherwise, something's going to happen. It didn't come. And I said, what's going on here? People are making their financial situation dependent upon one check from the federal government. That's not financial independence. That's financial dependence. I said, you can't do that. And so when this channel moved into stimulus in fall of 2020, I said, well, it's going to be now $600 we're learning, and it still has not come. It's December. You need to not focus on just the stimulus check. You need to focus on getting the other sums of money that are available under these stimulus packages, because there's a lot, and a lot more than just a stimulus check. And that's why Tyrone and his family four out of Boston got $15,000, giving him financial freedom on rent from December all the way to May. Imagine $15,000 of financial freedom on rent because the federal government paid for it. Then in January of this year, I launched Purple Hawks, to refer to someone who pounces and gets money when it's available and doesn't sit back and wait and look for something when it comes. The example was at the following: a $1,400 third stimulus check. Yeah, you're going to get it. You're going to get it, and eventually you're going to cash it, and then you're going to use it and say, where's the next one? I said, don't be dependent upon that $1,400 stimulus check, and don't focus on it. Rather focus on getting the other big sums of money under third stimulus. And that's what started to happen. I said I could get you $14,000 because rent, utilities, food, internet, more, and all these other items were in third stimulus. And viewers started getting these big sums of money because they realized, wait a second, money is money, and this is a lot more than a $1,400 stimulus check. $50,000 of financial freedom for a person is incredible. This is how the federal government works. They realize you may have, let's say, 7 bills. And those bills may be rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance, or homeowners utilities. And then you got to fix the roof, and then the car, the oil is leaking. You got to fix the car. Well, the government's not going to fix the car for you, and they're not going to fix the roof on the house. They just won't. But they'll pick up the other first 5 items, absolutely. Under these stimulus packages, they'll pay for the first 5 items. So what you do is you ensure that you apply and get paid for those first 5 items. And when those 5 items are paid for, you have financial freedom because suddenly you got the 5 items paid for, and with the money cleared up for that you didn't have to spend your own money on, you now have money to go fix the car and fix the roof. And that's financial freedom. And that's how viewers have understood to get these big sums of money that the federal government will pay for you so that you have financial freedom for your other bills as well. And with that, let's go right into fourth stimulus starting right now. Deal done was how I had said it over the last 2 weeks, and it now is an actual passage. The fourth stimulus recon passed overnight. So what happened? Let's go over all the details. Trust me, it's sort of like check this, check that, check this. Number one, I had told you that it was a done deal that the fourth stimulus recon procedure was going to pass. It did. It passed in a blink of an eye. I had told you that the Democratic caucus had met 2 weeks ago and had been polled by Chuck Schumer. Would all of them vote in favor of it, including Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin? They said yes. I told you they had 2 meetings about this, and this was confirmed. So what happened? They voted in favor of it. All Democrats passed the recon in flying colors. Number 2, I also told you that conservative media was going to tell you at the 11th hour that it was not going to pass and that Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema were going to vote against it. They literally last night, after my last recording, started those articles. And one of them is still front page news on their on one website. Says your recon is not going to pass because Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema are going to force it to go from 3.5 trillion to 2.5 trillion. They didn't do anything of the sort. I mean, it's just like, can you try again with something a little bit more creative in the untrue statements? So that was the second one. The third one was I had told you that the benefit of Chuck Schumer putting the vote of the recon after the bipartisan was that everyone was exhausted and had no more energy left to fight off the recon. And it happened. It absolutely 100% happened. The senators who are 80, 85 years old had been working 3 weeks nonstop in the longest Senate session in almost 10 years. 3 weeks in a row, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, literally had no more energy left. And while the recon was supposed to be 50 hours, it went no more than even 11 hours. Everyone was exhausted and said, just pass the darn thing. And it was done. And that is another thing that I told you was going to happen. So that is the recon procedural. So what is next upon the horizon? So now that the Roads and Bridges has passed the Senate and the recon procedural has passed the Senate, they now go to the House. I also told you over the last few days that Steny Hoyer, I specifically identified him, would come out within hours after the recon is passed and order the House back in session. Number one, it was within minutes. It wasn't even hours. And number two, he ordered them back into session. So the House comes back into session around August 27th. I posted on the community page early this morning as soon as the news broke. So the House is back into session to vote on the recon within just days. What are they voting on in this recon procedural? Basically only two subject matters. Do you agree upon the total price tag of $3.5 trillion? Yes. No. I wanted $4.5 trillion. That's basically all they can do is modify the number. Or two, you were separating the amount of the $3.5 trillion for $10 for this group and $10 for this committee of the U.S. government and $10 for this committee of the U.S. government. They can modify those numbers, say, no, this committee should have more money than this committee. And that's it. Not a particularly difficult vote. And trust me, because the progressives have been meeting with the White House over the last few weeks to figure out a price. So the $3.5 trillion is not a Senate price. It's a Senate and House price that they work in conjunction together. So there's no surprise about this. All right, now let's go to the next step, which is the president represents that the roads and bridges and the roads and bridges and the recon will become a law at the same time. So he has your back on that. He has basically made very clear that he's not making one law without the other. His statement came days ago when asked whether he would just pass off on the roads and bridges and leave the recon alone. He said, absolutely not. He says that as to the bipartisan, if that's the only thing that comes to me, and that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it. They have to come to me in tandem. And that as to the bipartisan, that's not the only thing I propose. I also propose the recon, and they're both equally important. So we got that covered. Nancy also has your back on this as well, saying that she's not calling the vote on just the bipartisan and not the recon. The recon has to land there. Well, they are landing there. And Jalapa also confirms that the House Democrats represent they're not going to pass the roads and bridges unless they have the recon as well. All right, so what comes then next? Well, at the moment, there is just recommendations as to how to spend the money in those committees for that are delegated money under the recon. Here are some of the recommendations, and they are all checks for the American people. Free school meals for all, checks. Tax break, checks. Cheaper prescription medication, checks. Immigration reform, checks. Greener farming, checks. Money for election, checks. Internet, checks. Worker checks, lots of worker checks. Checks for unions, checks for independent contractors and more. And checks for seniors, including checks for hearing care, checks for vision, checks for dental, lowering the eligibility age, and more. The prior stimulus packages, 1, 2, and 3, were of a certain size. This is the biggest we've ever seen, and the biggest proportionally for the American people. So there's a lot of room to put in there for stimulus checks, but you got to push purple power. So now let's go over the writing of the recon substantive. Once the recon becomes procedural and a committee like nutrition is dedicated, let's say $10, then they write up how to spend the $10 for that committee. Now, yesterday, I ran a quote from an article that said, basically, they will, quote, start writing the recon. And you saw me go off on a little bit about that. This morning, I reflected on it. I realized, you know what? No one knows if they've been writing or not been writing. They already said they had been writing. And remember what I say on camera. They don't have to show you what they're writing, what they're not writing, what they're taking in or taking out, or voting in favor of, voting against. So by all likelihood, the subcommittees have already been writing. They're not finished, but they have been writing. So Purple Power, you have to push. You have to push to ensure they keep their promises and put what they need to put into that money. What Schumer's breaking news minutes ago before going on air? His breaking news minutes ago before going on air is that on September 15th, he expects to call the vote on the reconciliation substantive bill. So he's basically saying, I know you've been writing the recon substantive bill in these subcommittees, but get ready to have it for me by September 15th for us to vote on. That's recon substantive, not recon procedural. So he's basically saying, you're going to get done recon procedural far before that. Be ready with the recon substantive for me by September 15th, so I call the vote on that then. So that is where we are across the board. Let's recap all the details you need to know. Number one, the recon procedural has passed the U.S. Senate. It now lands in the House. And in the House, they can modify the number. They can grow it up, or they can change how they disseminate the money among the committees. Then it goes to the president sign into law. Then next, the Roads and Bridges lands in the House, and they vote on the Roads and Bridges as well. After that, they finalized the language of the recon substantive and called that for a vote. And across the land, certain things have been delivered by Schumer, certain things have not been delivered by Schumer. He promised the American people that the entire recon would be finished by July 4th and into law. He didn't deliver. Then he said the entire recon would be passed into law by the August recess. He clearly did not deliver on that. He delivered just the recon procedural is being done by the August recess, not the entire recon. But that's where we are. He certainly did not deliver on the entire recon becoming law by the August recess, perhaps misguiding and misgauging how much time this would have taken. Clearly, there was some issue about him misunderstanding how much energy people had, and he clearly could have kept the Senate still there longer, but it was unlikely that anyone would get anything of any energy left, and that was a misguidance as to time. So next step is the House, and that's just a few days away as they vote to pass the recon procedural. And coming up next is Afternoon's LA Throwback Show. It comes up in just a few minutes. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you there. Then a new Afternoon's LA at 3 o'clock. Then Evening's LA, new show at 5 o'clock. And then Sirloin coming up later. Stay with this channel as new programming is added in the next few days. We're expanding our scope of programming to accommodate your excitement and accommodate your needs as well. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel in the pinned comment. Consider becoming a member so you get all this big money across the board. Become a Purple Hawk today. And with that, stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful noontime, and stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to Afternoons LA.